Welcome to EQS-electric, the channel for my EQS 450 Plus Mercedes-Benz. Today we're talking about charging that car, either publicly or with my own solar. And charging an electric car is as important as filling up the gas on a normal petrol or fossil car. And a lot is said about the hours and hours you're charging your car, during which you're not able to drive that car. A lot is said about bad ranges, and EVs are bad completely. Well, some truth is in that, but there's a lot of myth as well in it. An EV is charged approximately 90 to 95% of all the time at a fixed station, either at home or at your company where you work, where there's a charging station, a wall box. And there it takes just 10 seconds to charge your car. You need 5 seconds to put your plug in and 5 seconds to take the plug out. And this is, very, very short compared to the time you're losing during filling up at the gas station. Why? Well, when you're charging your car, you do not need it. But if you drive to your filling station, then you need the car. You can't do anything else. You have to fill up the car at the filling station. So this is the advantage of an electric car. You never have to go to that filling station again, and you save a lot of time. The EQS is one of the cars, or is the car today in delivery which has the biggest battery available. It's 120 kilowatt hours in total and a 107.8 net you're getting out of that. There are cars coming up that amount of battery as well, but they're not on the road today. And with my consumption of the car, it's 22 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer in total average, which includes quite a lot of German autobahns with not so slow traffic. I have a range about 500 kilometers or 300 miles, which equals then 350 watt hours per mile. So this is far away from the official saying of 750 kilometers, but that is, on a test stand, and that's not really normal. If you're driving the way I'm driving at quite speeds up to 100 miles per hour regularly, then you can't do it with a standard WLTP usage. No, you can't. If you're driving more carefully in countries with speed limits, then you might be able to get 700 kilometers out of that car, equals 435 miles. Yeah, that's possible, and therefore it's no longer that pressing to charge up your car whenever you're able to, so you can't leave out any charger. No, that's quite a lot of time, and I typically do not charge more often than 1, maximum 2 times a week. Yeah, that's all I have to do. I'm charging my car most often at our company, whiskey.com, where fine spirits meet. That's a website for the whiskey connoisseur worldwide in English. And there at the company, we have a solar array on the roof with 27 kilowatts peak and a battery for the house of 13.8 kilowatt hours total, which gave 13 kilowatt hours net. And we have that for 7 years now. Flawlessly, it worked every time. I'm charging my car at whiskey.com between March and October completely at the solar array of the company. When I deliver the juice to the grid, I'm earning 12.3 cents per kilowatt hour. And if I'm taking energy from the grid, I'm paying 45 cents per kilowatt hour. That's ridiculous. And here I do not have to say euros cents or dollar cents because it's 1-to-1 since a few weeks. So 45 cents for taking from the grid and 12.3 giving into the grid. There is no net metering as it's possible in some places on the world. No, there are different prices, and therefore the best is I'm taking out of that solar array as much as I can. So this will result in the best economics of that system. And therefore we have 3 EVs in the company: this EQS 450 Plus, a Tesla Model 3 and a Tesla Model Y. Both are long-range models. And there will be charging diagrams later, but first go on with the charging at the public stations. And I have a video here on the channel where I measured the charging curve of the car, and I give you a link in the description below. And that had taken place at a 350 kilowatts Ionity charger earlier this year. It is one of the best, if not the best, charging curve available for EVs today. And the Ionity stations where I took this measurement, well, they are very scarce here in the region. I don't know, Munich is a big city, 3 million inhabitants in the area of Munich, and there's no Ionity charger 50 kilometers in surroundings. That's incredible what they're doing there. And this is a joint venture between Mercedes, Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, which both belong to Volkswagen, Hyundai and Ford. So there should be more of those chargers here in the area. Well, they don't have it. It's not a problem because I charge the car at home, and then I have the range to reach the first Ionity charger 120, 150 kilometers away. Most often I jump over that. Yeah, we have relatives in Lower Bavaria, which is 150 kilometers in the north of where we live, at Lake Starnberg, and that's 90 miles away. And we typically drive at speeds of 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour over the Autobahn up to there and back again. And if you're charging your car at the recommended 80% state of charge, there's no problem to get to that place and back again, even with these high speeds, and still have some juice left, because I do not like it to drive that car that very low. And if I'm driving that very low, then I charge it up to, say, 10%, just to be sure not to harm the battery. Last time I came home from Lower Bavaria, I stopped at every charger I was able to along the Autobahn. I have a map for you showing all the stops I had, and I show you pictures of all those stops and the different public charging stations available. And all those charging stations have this CCS system, combined charging system, or called combo system. And that's a huge bureaucratic, difficult word, plug that combines a normal AC plug with 5 wires, 3 faces, 1 neutral and the earth, together with a 2-wire direct current charging and a bus, CAN bus, something with 2 wires, and that together in a huge plug. Oh, wow, incredible. And that's European bureaucracy. So, yeah. And on that way, there had been 7-year-old chargers with 40 kilowatts, which was the maximum then, and 150 kilowatt chargers, and then 300 and 350 kilowatt chargers on the way. All those chargers shown on your map, on your MBUX system, should be available to you with your Mercedes charging card, but that's not quite right. There is a lot of AC chargers also shown on the map, and they are quite difficult because most often, or quite often, they reside behind a gate. So there had been a Volkswagen dealer with 22 chargers, and I went by and the yard was closed, so no chance to get in there to charge. So you can't trust what you're seeing in the MBUX system. The chargers along the Autobahns, the high power chargers, they typically are fit for the Mercedes charging card. But all those low AC chargers, don't trust them. Look up at a different app on your smartphone. You can't trust the MBUX in that way. Yeah. And then there are still broken stalls which are not indicated in the app. During my stops, I had one fail. It showed it should work, but it didn't work and won't start to charge. And there had been 2 proprietary chargers which won't work with my Mercedes card. There had been always a charger available, no risk for not getting juice at that charging point. One time during my high-speed test on German Autobahn, where I tried to drive as fast as I could and looking up how high the consumption was, when I then tried to recharge the car, there had been an Ionity charger at Friedberg, Bavaria, with 6 stalls. 2 were, I think, not yet connected to the net. 2 were defect, and one of those 2 were just occupied by a car going to the yard in front of me. And well, it was luck that there was one empty, and that on Sunday morning, 6 a.m., where nobody was around, there was just one left for me. So this was not what I would have expected from the proprietary system of Mercedes. No? So that's a problem. Out of those chargers available, either 50 kilowatts, the very old ones, or the 150 or the 350 kilowatts, Mercedes was always able to get the maximum out of them, close to the rated maximum. Of course, at the 300 and 350 kilowatts systems, the car just took 208 maximum, because that's the limit the battery has. There's no way with this 400 volt or 450 volt system to get more out of those chargers. And then I tried the Tesla Supercharger close to where I live as well. It's a mixed one. There's a 2.5 and a version 3 there, and I tried the version 3, and at a state of charge of 56%, I was able to get 148 kilowatts out of that Tesla charger. So the Tesla chargers are open here in Germany. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Some countries like Norway, I think every Tesla charger is open. You won't be lost on the road with your car. You aren't able to charge. Charging at your own solar is really great. As I said, I own a 3-phase system from a company called E3DC. It's a German company, not AC/DC, no, E3DC system. And that's an old one from 2015. And it's connected to a 27 kilowatt peak array out of 104 modules. And there's a 30 kilowatt hours net battery included in that system for storing energy for the night for the company. And attached is a AC wall box, and this is able to deliver up to 22 kilowatts of power to the car via a 5-wire cord. And this is 3 times 32 amps and equals 96 amps for the normal DC charging, AC charging in the US. But the first 2 Teslas I had, they were able to take those 22 kilowatt with the dual chargers. The late 100D I had took just 16.5 kilowatts with a single charger, and the Model 3 and Y I own today, they just take 11 kilowatts, and the Mercedes EQS 450 Plus I have takes 11 kilowatt maximum. And I think there is a additional charger where this EQS can take 22 as well, but I don't have that extra. And here you see the picture for the production of my solar system on July 19th, 2022. It's just 1 month after summer solstice, and sorry for the German descriptions, there's no way to switch them over to English. And you can see the orange area, which shows the power which is directly consumed from the solar array. So this is not delivered to the grid, but directly used in the company. And then the green is the charging of the internal battery. That is not that much because the battery is quite small to the complete installation. The battery degraded already over those 7 years about 12%, and only 11.47 kilowatt hours run into that battery. And blue is the delivery to the grid. It's 72.94 kilowatt hours. That's quite a lot delivered to the net. Well, on that day, all the cars were full, and we had no chance to take that power from the solar array. We have to put it to the grid for those 12.3 cents per kilowatt hour, which is really, really cheap. Peak power here is only 17.8 kilowatts because we live at a high latitude of 47.8, and it's north of the European Alps. And you just get slightly above 1 megawatt hour out of 1 kilowatt peak over the year. After the weekend, where I drove the car down to reserve level, the car was able to charge completely over the next full day. At noon, we typically drive home for lunch, but we took our bikes and not the car. So it's completely charged over noon where the delivery is maximum. And you see no blue supply to the grid at all. So this is perfect. And a little variance between the orange area, which is sucked into the car, and the maximum envelope of the supply. There's a little green area in between. And this is what the battery charges. And there you have a little variance where the system tries to even out everything. And well, at 1700, the car is full. And then the battery is charged up to, well, 10 point something. And so we wasted no kilowatt hour at all. So this was a wonderful day, which ran into my pocket. Yeah, and the car charged up to 80% state of charge, which is the recommended maximum for that battery set for lasting long in that car. And in winter, I am going a little bit over that to 90%, but in summer, I also stay with the Teslas at 80%, which, well, some people say that's good for the battery. Others say it don't matter as long as you stay at 90%. Yeah, so I stay at 80 in summer when it's warm because temperature is not that good for the battery. Those 80 kilowatt hours cost myself only the 12.3 cents or 0.123 euros, which I do not earn from the grid. So this is the cost I have, those fictional costs. It's 9.84 euros. This is 2.7 euros or dollars per 100 kilometer or 4.4 cents per mile. This is a unbeatable cost for your consumption. This is really, really good. And the 80 kilowatt hours I would have taken from a public charger at 50 cents in average in the moment. Prices are rising steep as the prices at the gas stations do. This would lead to 40 euros I would have paid for that charge, and this leads to 11 euros per 100 kilometer or 18 cents per mile, and that is quite expensive. So charging at a fast charger is 4 times as expensive as charging at my solar. What I'm doing, I'm charging at solar, of course, as often as I can. And you may argue that those prices don't matter if you're buying such an expensive car. But adding everything up, like you pay no ownership taxes, you do not pay for a lot for the consumption, you have quite high reselling prices of the used car, and you hopefully have less maintenance costs compared to fossil cars, then it adds up and will result in quite an affordable price per kilometer, but you have to have the money for buying that car. So I'm not one who's going to a bank or to a leasing company. No, we are paying cash. Yeah, we do. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. There's more to come.